You all. We have some new faces also, Ritesh and Pranshu. Do you know what we've discussed till now? Any idea? So basically we have done unit 1. We've finished matlab pura basic from basics to we've covered most of these topics in detail. Yash, how are you? Right. So unit 1 we've done. In this we've discussed about different economic theories related to international trade and business. We've looked at different ways in which international business can be conducted, licensing, franchisee and FDI and all these things. We've also looked at, the different theories of international trade, comparative advantage, absolute advantage, mercantilism, all these things. Neoclassical theories also, Heckscher-Rollin theory, modern theories as well, new trade theory and country similarity theory. Exactly, right. So we have discussed different theories. We have looked at what is international business. It includes, trade, investments and everything. We have also considered the different factors that influence international business. What are those? Economic factors, political factors, technological, legal, yes, cultural factors, socio-cultural factors, all these things. So different factors influence international business that we've looked at. And last time we were discussing about distributional issues as well. Do you remember what kind of issues are there? Because not everything is good about international business and trade. There are some positive aspects. However, there can be some negative or drawbacks as well. When countries engage in international business, what are those? Distribution. What is the meaning of distributional issues? Huh? Okay, yes, winners win and losers lose. Some countries actually end up winning, while other countries become highly dependent on imports. That is one aspect. So between countries also you can have disparities, and within a country between different sectors also there can be problems. So certain sectors which are engaging a lot in international business may have an advantage because of this. Other sectors may lag behind, and certain people who are employed in those sectors that are not getting involved in international business and trade, they get affected as a result of this. Because the sectors which are involved in international business, they are generally requiring a lot of technical knowledge and skill, and people find it difficult who are employed in say other sectors that are not doing so much international business. So those sectors are lagging behind, and to switch from this sector to the other one, they require a lot of skill which takes time, and not everyone can become so well equipped and skilled. That is why that can lead to issues between sectors within the economy and between different segments of the economy. So rich people keep on getting richer, while poor people keep on lagging behind as a result of international business. Even if you're looking at international investments, that also leads to similar kind of problems. Big business houses, big corporate houses find it easier to raise international capital compared to SME, small enterprises. They may not get so much foreign investments in the form of, they may not be easily getting foreign institutional investments or portfolio investments and all. So there can be some drawbacks. You need to remember, not everything is fine with international business. There are certain limitations. You have also issues related to competition as well. Certain industries within the country may find it difficult when because of globalization, when the economies become interconnected. If you are importing a lot from other countries, domestic industries may find it difficult to compete with other countries such as China, who are having cost advantage. We may find it difficult. Certain industries may not be able to compete directly with them, and therefore there is a need, because of these distribution issues, either between countries, within the country, within different sectors, between different segments of the income groups and all. There are different distributional issues, and therefore there is a need for government intervention at times. And what does government do? What can government do to prevent all these things from happening? Policies, okay. Government policies can be made in such a way you can have protectionist policies to protect your domestic industries from external competition. You can have tariffs, duties, quotas, limitations on the quantity of imports and exports. All those things can be used. Anything else that the government can do apart from these tariffs and quotas? Subsidy. Okay, great. So there can be multiple things that the government can be involved in. They can, even help in skilling people to switch from one sector to the other sector. That is also one more thing that they can do. And obviously the whole taxation system is meant to reduce this kind of disparity, to transfer the wealth from people who are rich, but practically we know there are problems. But theoretically it sounds fine, the whole taxation system, but companies know all the loopholes of such systems. They know how to exploit them. They can manipulate their accounts and do all kinds of things. They can use mergers and acquisitions also to benefit from these taxation things also. We will discuss today how companies can actually make use of these kind of loopholes to actually benefit, and therefore the government may not be always efficiently managing these kind of disparities and distributional issues. We've also looked at the different, how the economy our Indian economy has opened up over a period of time. We have had various reforms starting from the 1990s, LPG reforms and all, and gradually progressing. Now we have further kinds of reforms, greater integration of capital markets is there, much greater flows are coming from foreign institutional investors, foreign portfolio investors. So these kind of FDI has also been opened up in various sectors, including insurance, including defense, including telecom. So foreign companies can also participate in these sectors, which were earlier on highly regulated and mainly being operated by the domestic industry and the government. So any doubts with respect to Unit 1 that you are not clear of? Most of the things we have discussed, the factors that affect international business. What is international business? It includes trade and investments, the factors that influence them, economic, political, legal, social, cultural and technological, all those factors. We have discussed about distribution issues. Not everything is positive about international trade and business. We have also looked at how reforms have undertaken over the years. And obviously nowadays, this environmental concerns have also become very prominent. Companies and countries are looking forward to these issues related to environment, related to society and all. But doing business is one thing. You're looking after your own profits and your own self-interest, but it should not be harmful to the society and environment. That is why there have been various initiatives that have been undertaken in this area as well. Can you think of any such measure that has been taken with respect to green trade or with respect to sustainable practices, environment, society and all? CSR, okay. Every company, listed companies are required to contribute 2% of their profits to CSR activities, corporate social responsibility. They may take up any social cause like, education or environment. What happened? Fine. So they may take up any social cause, environment, education, women empowerment, and either through NGOs or directly or any way they have to contribute certain proportion of their profits for these kind of activities. This is beneficial for the overall society, but this is also beneficial for the companies. Why do you think Reliance has opened up these foundations? Reliance Foundation, you have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, all these foundations. Why are the corporates opening up these? What do you think are the reasons? Exactly. So there are multiple, apart from benefiting the society, even from the corporate's perspective, these are having a lot of benefits. It firstly improves their brand image. Like everyone knows, Tata is known for their ethical practices and everything. Similarly, all these different initiatives like foundations and all by Bill Gates, by Tata, by HCL founder Shiv Nadar, they have opened up universities and all Shivnadar University. So different industrialists and business houses are opening up these initiatives, and the reason is that it helps improve their brand image in the minds of the consumers, in the mind of the general public, and also it helps them in saving taxes a lot. There is obviously they do a lot of manipulation and everything to save taxes, which ideally should not be done, but it is practically happening. So this social, cause and environmental causes, along with CSR initiatives, green trade, sustainable practices, is also an emerging theme which all the businesses and countries are looking at. Nowadays, any big business is focusing on all these activities as well. So we have discussed Unit 1 in detail. Today we will be moving on to the next unit. Unit 2 and 4, are mainly about different trade organizations and economic institutions, global economic institutions like, World Bank, IMF, Asian Development Bank. These are there in Unit 4. In Unit 3, you have trade groupings like SAARC, ASEAN, G20, G7, all these things. SAFTA, NAFTA, trade agreements as well, WTO. These are in Unit 2 and 4. But right now we'll be looking at the other aspect, which is international investments. That's a part of Unit 3. Today we'll be discussing Unit 3. We've already discussed about different kinds of foreign investments. You must be aware by now. What are those, Bharat? FDI, FII, FPI. You also have qualified portfolio. I'll come to that also. But broadly, what do you think is the significance or importance of international investment? Why is it beneficial? Helps in domestic growth of industries if you're able to get capital. Any other benefit? Why not get capital from domestic markets only? Why are companies looking at raising international capital? What is the reason? Okay. Good. Okay. International relations. Yes. Market reach increase hoti hai. Fine. Yes, if you are getting some stake or some shareholders from abroad, they will help you in grow the business over there as well. They will have the incentive to expand the operations. That is one thing. But broadly, it gives you access to international capital markets. If suppose in India you want to raise funds through debt by issuing bonds or debentures, all those things, that would be quite costly in Indian markets. The interest rates in India are much higher compared to the interest rates in developed economies like US or Japan and all, or European countries. So you can get much better terms, in terms of interest, in terms of payment terms also. How long in India maybe you may have to pay back the debt within 5-10 years. Internationally you can raise it for 20-30 years as well. So the payback terms, payback period and all, the interest rates, all these things are also an additional benefit that companies can make use of by going to foreign capital markets. Plus they get the benefit of diversification. So if something is happening, maybe Indian domestic big institutional investors are selling, then still if you're invested, if you're in the domestic countries, the markets are not doing well. Still, if your shares are listed abroad through ADRs or GDRs, we'll come to that. If you are having investors from abroad, then it gives you a kind of diversification as well. If something happens to Indian capital markets, you are having access to other markets as well. This is from the company's perspective. They get the benefit of diversification, of better terms in terms of interest, in terms of payment period, in terms of they get access to foreign markets and resources. They can raise far greater amount of capital compared to Indian markets. Do you know the size of Indian stock market. What is the market cap of the whole Indian market? Do you know the GDP of India? GDP is how much? Okay, around 4 trillion. It's almost $4 trillion. Fine. And in how much is it in rupees? Do you know? It's 39 lakh crores. No, it's 200, more than 200 lakh crores. That must be you must be talking about the government revenues and all. The overall GDP of India is more than 200 lakh crores, which is almost equal to $4 trillion. The size of the Indian Indian stock market is around $5 trillion. While the size, if you look at the US markets, do you know the biggest stock exchange of the world? It's New York Stock Exchange. So that is having a market cap of more than $25 trillion. More than 5 times of Indian stock markets. Similarly, India comes around the 10th rank in terms of the size of the capital markets. You have much bigger capital markets like Nikkei and Japanese stock index and all. You have Nasdaq, NYSE, all these things. They are much bigger compared to Indian markets. That is one more reason. If you can easily get much more capital from foreign capital markets. For people who were not there last time or previously, we have discussed about FDI and FPI. FDI is basically investment for longer periods of time compared to FPI, which is there for usually short term. It's more highly volatile. It's called hot money or smart money, which keeps flowing in and out of country very fast. If investors sitting abroad are investing in Indian stocks or in Indian bonds, that would be called FPI, foreign portfolio investment. However, if countries are setting up physical factories in India or setting up plants and equipment and all, that would come under FDI. Say Apple is manufacturing in India, that is example of foreign direct investment. Or they may even acquire a substantial stake in a company. If they acquire more than 10% stake in the company, that would come under FDI. But if it's less than 10%, it's called FPI. So if you have a big stake in a company, that means you are also having a very major say. You must be knowing that voting rights are connected to the amount of shares that you are holding. So they can easily influence the decision making within the company if they are holding substantial amount of shares. If you are having more than 10%, you have a decent say in the functioning of the company. That is the reason why FDI is usually for long term. You have a substantial say in the company, and if you are investing in a particular company substantially, or if you are setting up physical infrastructure including factories, plants, property, equipment, all these things, it's not there for only 1 month or 1 year. You are doing it for 10, 20, 40 years as well. So we all know the difference between FDI and FPI. Then let's come to details. This is fine. So this is FDI. If the company acquires more than 10% stake in the company, or if it establishes physical infrastructure or manufacturing facility. So can you think of any other example apart from Walmart? Walmart acquired a stake in Flipkart, that we all know. Any other example of FDI that you can think of? I just told you one example. Yes? Any example of FDI? हाँ? Apple भी हो सकता है, exactly. Yes, exactly. So सैमसंग की फैक्ट्री भी ओपन हुई है. Right, right, exactly. So all of these are examples of FDI. Benefit क्या होता है कंपनी को? देंगे if they are always importing things, they will have, it will incorporate a lot of duty and customs and all. If India is having abundant factors of production, we've discussed in Heckscher role in theory. If any country is having a large amount of factors of production, like say labor, India is having lot of labor. This can be utilized by foreign companies easily by setting up a plant in India. Low cost of production, favorable government policies. So maybe the government is promoting a particular sector or FDI by giving certain kind of incentives. They are providing, say, certain tax reliefs or certain subsidies and all. This will again be a benefit for foreign companies. FPI, which are investing in financial markets of India but having a stake of less than 10%. That would be called foreign portfolio investment. Fine. So FPI, as we said, FPI is a very broad term. FII is a subset of FPI. All the, if somebody sitting abroad is investing in India, they may or may not be a big institution. They may be a small investor also. They may be a high net worth individual. An individual investor can also invest in an Indian company. If Warren Buffett is investing in, or Charlie Munger is investing in Indian stocks, in Reliance shares or in TCS shares, those would be examples of QPI. This thing, QFI, qualified foreign investors. So they are the other subset of FPI. You have one part is foreign institutions, other are qualified foreign investors, which are individual investors. But nowadays, earlier on, these used to be separate terms. FII and QFI used to be separate. But now SEBI has merged both of them in the same category, FPI, foreign portfolio investors, and they need to be registered with SEBI if they want to invest in India or in Indian capital markets. And now these are called RFPI, registered foreign portfolio investors. They can be classified into three categories: very low risk, medium risk or high risk. So low risk would be very big sovereign wealth funds. So if countries' funds are directly being invested through central banks, those are very stable funds which are not risky from the domestic country's point of view. But if small individual investors are investing, or hedge funds are investing, or venture capital funds are investing, these funds are quite liquid. They flow in and out really fast. That is why from the country's perspective, from the domestic country's perspective, these are called hot money or smart money, and they are really risky from the country's perspective. If there is any negative news, any panic in the market, these people will be the first to take out their money. If say COVID fourth wave happens, they will be the first ones to actually take out all the money from the Indian capital markets. But if big central banks are investing, they would be relatively more stable. Similarly, if big pension funds or mutual fund insurance companies are investing, they would be relatively more stable compared to hedge funds, which are, what the difference between hedge funds and mutual funds? Are you aware? Do you know how hedge funds are different from mutual funds? Hedge fund, mutual fund you all know, right? सबने सुना ही है म्यूचुअल फंड सही है. क्यों सही है? डाइवर्सिफिकेशन बेनिफिट मिलता है. And even if you do not have enough knowledge about the market, there are professional managers who are sitting over there to manage your money. They take money from small retail investors, then spread it across different investments. That gives you the benefit of diversification as well. You can easily contribute small amounts starting from 500 rupees also. But if you only had 500 rupees, you had to diversify your portfolio. You cannot put 50 rupees in one company, because that would involve a lot of transaction costs, including brokerage, including security, transaction tax, stamp duties, all those things. So 50 rupees you cannot put in one company. You'll at least try to put in 1,000, 5,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees in one company. Therefore, if you only have 500 rupees, you cannot directly invest in multiple companies. You have to rely on mutual funds, which again give you the benefit of diversification. They give you benefit of professional management. You do not have to keep track of the markets. They are sitting there, they are managing your money. Yes, risk management they are doing easily. But they keep track of the market developments, keep on switching the investments also from one sector to the other sector depending on how the market is doing. It gives you a lot of benefit, mutual funds. But what about hedge funds? Are they similar or different? What is the difference? How are they different? Yes. Basically, hedge funds, are taking much greater risk. As you know, how much returns mutual funds can give? Do you know? Yeah, 10, 12, 15%. In the long term, in 1 year, they can even give 100% or minus 50% as well. But over a 5-year period or 10-year period, you can expect to get anywhere from 10 to 15 to 18% returns, depending on the kind of fund and the performance of the markets. But if you want greater returns, other option is hedge fund. And in that you cannot contribute 500 rupees. It has to be a large investment. It's usually meant for high net worth individuals. And what they do is, they take your money. These hedge funds are also having professional managers. They take your money and they invest in risky assets, including derivatives as well. So they buy and sell call options and put options. They buy and sell futures contracts and all. They do it for a very short term period. Every day or every month they'll keep on switching all the time, depending on the market conditions, depending on everything. However, mutual funds are relatively more stable. So if you want to take greater risk and you have a large fund, you have a large portfolio, in that case you can opt for hedge funds as well. So all these hedge funds, mutual funds are relatively, and pension funds, insurance companies, they are investing relatively for a longer period compared to venture capital funds and all, where small investors, individual investors. And these hedge funds, venture capital funds and private equity and individual investors are comparatively more risky. These funds are more volatile compared to mutual funds, compared to insurance companies, and compared to pension funds and all. There's one more term related to this, which is PMS. PMS, do you know? Not that PMS which girls generally have. That is a bio term. I'm talking about this PMS. Have you heard of PMS in finance? PMS. Yes, portfolio management services. So these are also again professionally managed. There are managers who are sitting there to manage your money. They are also like mutual funds, but the difference is that they take larger sums of money. They do not take 500 rupees. They accept minimum of 5-10 lakh rupees, and using that amount, they also do lot of frequent trading, including buying and selling of call options and put options. They make lot of you must have read about in derivatives. Have you studied derivatives? In that there are different option trading strategies. Do you know of any trading strategy, option trading? So any option trading strategy that you know, like you can, if you are bullish on the market, if you have a bullish view on the market, you can either buy a call option, you can sell a put option, or you can buy a futures contract, right? और क्या कर सकते हैं? If you are bullish on the market, you can buy a bull call spread, you can sell a bear put spread. These kind of things, these are called spreads. You can have spreads also, in which you are combining buying and selling options simultaneously. There are also other kind of strategies, like you have iron condors and iron flies, you have straddles and strangles and all those things. Even if you are neutral on the market, if you are bullish, Then you can buy a call, you can sell a put option, you can buy a futures contract, you can buy a bull call spread, you can sell a bear put spread, you can do multiple things. If you're bearish on the market, you can do the opposite of this. But if you're neutral on the market, you believe that the market will stay within a range, then also you can make a profit. How? By selling both call and put. Out of the money call and put you've sold, if the market remains within the range, these options will expire at zero, and whatever premium you've got will be yours. That will be your profit. So depending on your view of the market, you can do multiple kinds of strategies, and this is what PMS also does. PMS and hedge funds, they also do similar kind of thing. They make these straddles and strangles and iron condors and all these things for either for within the day, intraday also they do on weekly options also, which are having weekly expiries, on monthly expiries as well. And every week they are trying to get you a return of 1%. So monthly they are getting you around 4%. Annually they are trying to get you more than 50-60% returns, which is much more compared to mutual funds and all, which are giving you only 10-15% returns. So if you need greater returns, if you need say more than 30, 40, 50% returns, then you can, and you have a larger corpus, you have say 5-10 lakh rupees, then you can go for PMS. Since not everyone has enough time, if maybe after 1 or 2 years when you get a good job, though I am doubtful, but if you get a good job, then you will be working and you may not have enough time to actually manage all your investments, or you may not enjoy it so much, or you may not want to spend so much time managing everything. Then if you are having a substantial corpus, you have this other option as well, which is going for PMS. They can manage your funds, they charge you some fee annually depending on the funds that they're managing, and that is one more benefit. So right, yes, हाँ 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 exactly. These mutual funds and all are taking your funds from retail investors, small investors. They have a big corpus now. They have collected say 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees from different investors. Overall, they are managing tens of crores or hundreds of crores of rupees. These funds they use to invest in different assets. Suppose they are getting a 20% return, they'll give you only 15%. Rest will be they have a expense ratio. Expense ratio is there for every mutual fund around 1.5%, which is on the amount of funds that they're managing. So suppose you've given them 1 lakh rupees to manage, so 1% would be around 1,000. Every year you will be paying them 1,000 rupees to manage your funds. Exactly. And one way is to directly charge up. This is a management fee. They are not doing social service, they are not helping you out, they are doing a business and they are charging you fee in return for providing their service and expertise. So this is around 1-2%. Apart from this, they can get a higher return also and give you a relatively lower kind of return. This is one more way that they can earn. One more way that hedge funds usually do is they say take 2% straight away from the funds that they are managing, and if they give you a return, if they deliver a return more than the cutoff rate, they will charge you 20% of the additional profits. That is one more thing they do. So 2 and 20 is the kind of fee structure that they charge. So 2% is straight away that they are charging, and 20% on the additional profits that they are generating above a certain limit. So they are guaranteeing you a return of 20%, and if they are able to get a return more than 20%, they will charge 20% of any extra profit. So the PMS is one more option that you can explore. Maybe 1 or 2 years down the line, if you have enough funds, you can give certain amounts to different management services, and you can expect to get a return of more than 30-40%. Because there are other transaction charges also, brokerage fee and everything, but overall after deducting everything you can still expect around 30-40%. Does anyone know the difference between venture capital, private equity? You have these three terms: angel investors, you have venture capital, and you have private equity. Are you aware of the difference between these three? Being finance students, you must at least know these three basic terms. Angel is like, yeah, first time investor. So basically, when you just have an idea कि I want to start this business, but I still do not have any revenues, anything. Maybe I'm developing the product, or I'm just basically started building on the idea. That time, whoever is investing in you, they are like an angel for you. They are the first time investors who are trying to help you out. So they are the ones who are entering at the most basic stage of the business, बिल्कुल at the entry level. Then once you have already started the business, you have developed the product, now you are selling also, you are getting certain revenue, then you can approach venture capital, like what you must have seen in Shark Tank. Those are venture capitalists. The businesses that come on Shark Tank, they already have some revenues, they have the product, they come and tell ki we are having this much revenues every year, this is the EBITDA we are making, this is the profit we are making eventually. After doing their analysis, they put in some more money, say 1 crore or 2 crore, or say usually it's less than 10 crore rupees. Those kind of investors are called venture capitalists. So they are entering at a stage when the business already has, the product is developed or the service is ready, and you have started making some profits. That is the stage at which venture capital firms or individuals enter. And private equity is a much later stage. Once the business is already established, it has already grown to a big size, that time they would require much larger funds. They would not be satisfied with 1 crore or 2 crore rupees. They would need in hundreds or thousands of crores. The investors that are stepping in at that point of time are called private equity investors. These are usually big firms, like all the venture capitalists that come on Shark Tank. Do you know anyone who comes on Shark Tank? Aman Gupta, Boat Ka, then you have Anupam Mittal, Shadi.com, you have all these things. Ashneer Grover, right? Bharat Pay, right? Lenskart, Piyush Bansal, all those people are investing their own personal funds. They have enough funds, they have say hundreds or thousands of crores, they are investing 50 lakh or 1 crore from their own personal investments. But private equity firms, on the other hand, they raise funds from different sources, from either banks or from the other investors. They get funds, and using this whole corpus, they are allocating funds to across different companies. This is the difference. And who do you think out of these three, angel, venture capital and private equity, is taking on the highest risk? Angel, na? And they would obviously expect to get higher returns. I told you, it's not guaranteed. So I told you last time as well, if anybody is asking you the relation between risk and returns, never say that higher the risk, higher the return. Higher the risk, higher the expected returns. It's not guaranteed. But if you're taking on higher risk by investing in a very small startup, or if you're investing in a very risky small company, you would expect to get higher returns. But that's not always guaranteed. You might end up losing your entire capital. And this is what generally happens in angel investing also. Like if you are investing in 10 different business ideas, out of these 8 will definitely fail. Only 2 will succeed, but those 2, if they are able to succeed, then that will be more than enough to compensate you for the 8 losses. But private equity firms, on the other hand, have a completely opposite ratio. 80% of their businesses are actually succeeding, 2 out of 10 are failing, but those 80% are not making very huge profits. They are just say growing by 15, 20, 30% per annum. They are not doubling or tripling every year. They are only growing by 10, 20, 30% per annum. So you, as a private equity firm, you cannot expect to get very high returns because you are not taking on such high risk. Since we're talking about investments, let's discuss a little practical things also. Since most of you must be interested in stock markets. No? Is anyone following or investing markets? Do you invest in markets? Nobody is investing? अच्छा. How do you invest? On what basis? कि टिप मिल गया है, अंकुश ने टिप दे दिया है, हाँ, अच्छा, ओके, अच्छा, कैसे नहीं, ऑन व्हाट बेसिस डू यू इन्वेस्ट? मौसम टिप देता है क्या कि ही इज़ गिविंग यू टिप आ गया यहाँ से, कि मौसम ने टिप दिया कि लेट्स बाय आईटीसी, इंडियन टोबैको कंपनी? वाई? बिकॉज आजकल हर कोई गुटखा खा रहा है तो आईटीसी में इन्वेस्ट कर देते हैं. देन अंकुश सेज कि नहीं, आईटीसी में कर रहे हैं तो एशियन पेंट्स में भी कर देते हैं. वाई? बिकॉज सब गुटखा खा रहे हैं तो कहीं तो तो वील नीड एशियन पेंट. फिर भरत सिंह, अच्छा है, फिर तो हमें टाटा टी भी खरीदना चाहिए. वाई टाटा टी? लेबर तो आएगी ना तो पेंट के लिए. तो दिस इज नॉट हाउ यू इन्वेस्ट. यू हैव टू रिलाई ऑन proper analysis, which is technicals and fundamentals. I told you also, did I tell you last time? So basically fundamentals is all about economy, industry and company, EIC. Economy, how the economy is doing, is it growing or what is the rate of inflation, how are interest rates, are they moving up or down, all these kind of things. Then what are the government policies, which sectors are they promoting, which are the upcoming sectors, like solar power or maybe electric vehicles. These are the upcoming themes. Within these sectors, which are the companies that are likely to do well in the future? So say Tata Motors are coming up with new electric vehicles. So, and those companies, how are their financial aspects, their financial statements you'll have to analyze. You know 3 kinds of statements? Okay, fine. Balance sheet tells you the financial position of a company at a point of time. You know how much assets and liabilities the company is having right now. Income statement tells you the financial performance of the company over a period of time. So how much expenses and revenues it has made, how much profit it has made in the last 1 quarter or 1 year. And cash flow statement tells you the inflow and outflow of cash from either operating activities, investing activities or financing activities. So you have to analyze all these things along with valuation ratios. Do you know financial ratios, different ratios are there? Any valuation ratio you are aware of? Okay, liquidity ratio, debt equity, solvency ratio, liquidity ratio, profitability ratios, activity or efficiency ratios. You must have studied all this. But there are one more kind of ratios, which are valuation ratios. Do you know any valuation ratio you are aware of? This is the most important thing. When you are looking to invest in any company, you must be aware of valuation ratios. Are you aware of any valuation ratio? Yes, EV by EBITDA is one. Price to earning you must have heard of. Price to book, price to cash flow. All these ratios are telling you something. What are they telling you? अच्छा, okay, okay, good. तो देखो, when we are looking to invest in any company, we have to see whether the company is of good quality, it's a good company. वो हमें financial statement से पता पड़ जाएगा. But that is one part only. We have to look at quality, that is one thing. But we also have to look at how much price we are paying. कि अगर हम जैसे मिंत्रा पे जाते हैं, कोई ड्रेस देख रहे हैं या कुछ देख रहे हैं, वी हैव टू लुक एट what is the price we are paying. That also we consider. Apart from the quality, we look at the material and everything, but we also consider how much price we are paying for that. Similarly, when we are looking at stocks, we need to consider what is how good the company is and also at what price are we getting. So price to earning will tell you kitni are we getting value for our money. That is why it is called valuation ratio. वर्थ है या नहीं है, जितना हम पे कर रहे हैं उसके लिए कंपेयर टू कितनी अर्निंग वो कमा रहे हैं, क्या वो सही प्राइस दे रहे हैं हम या नहीं दे रहे हैं. सिमिलरली ईवी बाय बीडा है, एंटरप्राइज वैल्यू बाय बीडा. सिमिलरली वी हैव प्राइस टू बुक, प्राइस टू कैश फ्लो, वी हैव डिविडेंड यील्ड. ऑल दीज रेशियोज टेल यू एक्चुअली द प्राइस, द काइंड ऑफ प्राइस यू पेइंग, इज इट worthwhile, should you actually be paying this much. You can compare that within the industry. Suppose एक company का P ratio 10 है, maybe you are looking at TCS, उसका P ratio 15 है और एक Infosys है उसका P ratio 20 है. Which one will you invest in? इसका रेशो ज़्यादा होगा या कम होगा? हाँ, प्राइस टू अर्निंग में क्या हो रहा है कि अगर 20 है, इन्फोसिस का 20 है सपोज, वैसे दोनों का ही ऑलमोस्ट 25 के आसपास है, बट एनीवे राइट नाउ इन्फोसिस का अगर 20 है, दैट मीन्स कि अगर आज को वो 1 रुपये कमा रही है per share, if it's earning 1 rupee, so it will, right now the price of the share is 20 rupees. It will take 20 years for the company to earn equal to the price of the share, है ना? While TCS will take only 15 years. If it is earning 1 rupee, it will take 15 years. It is trading at 50 rupees, 15 rupees right now. So P ratio is 15, right? So you will try to invest in a company which is having lower P. It is cheaply available compared to the other company which is having a higher P. तो इससे हमें आइडिया लगता है कि बट दैट इज़ नॉट द ओनली फैक्टर, क्योंकि एक ये भी तो पॉइंट है कि मे बी TCS is having 15 but it is not growing at all while Infosys is growing very fast, है ना? That is also one more thing you will consider. ये जो PE ratio, that is according to the current earning, but maybe 10 years down the line or maybe 2 years down the line the हर साल Infosys की earning double हो रही है, ये भी तो हो सकता है. So you will also need to consider growth as well. So that is called PEG ratio, price to earning growth ratio. You will consider how much it is growing also. This thing also you will consider. So this kind of analysis is called fundamental analysis, where you look at and you can also compare with the industry average कि अगर industry में P ratio 25 है और इनका 15-20 है, so these are good companies, they are cheaply available compared to the other companies, but obviously you will also have to take into account growth of the company. And why is the market giving 15 or 20 times the value of the earnings? Why do you think? 20 साल अगर लग जाएंगे कंपनी को उतना पैसा कमाने में जितनी उसकी वैल्यू अभी दे रही है मार्केट, so what is the point? Who would like to wait for 20 years? Why is the market giving 20 times the earnings? Why do you think? What is the reason? क्योंकि एग्जैक्टली विश्वास है लोगों को कि ये कंपनी लुकिंग एट द प्रीवियस 5 years डेटा, दे फील दैट इट इज़ ग्रोइंग एवरी ईयर बाय 20% और 30%. तो इट विल नॉट टेक 20 years, इट विल हार्डली टेक 10 years बिकॉज इट इज़ ग्रोइंग सो फास्ट, है ना? तो दिस इज़ वाई this kind of analysis is called fundamental, where you look at how economy is doing, how industry is doing, how company is doing. And technical में you will look at what? Technical analysis is the other thing where you will consider, yes, charts and patterns and momentums and trends. So every day in the news also you see कि निफ्टी का ग्राफ दिखा रहे हैं, ऊपर जा रहा है, नीचे जा रहा है. तो why is that important? Because the trend in technicals, you have this very famous saying that trend is your friend. Always stay with the trend because trend is your friend. तो अगर ट्रेंड ऊपर जा रहा है तो यू शुड ट्राई टू स्टिक विद द ट्रेंड. और फंडामेंटल में एक्चुअली उल्टा कह रहे हैं. I told you, I think last time as well, Warren Buffett has a very famous saying that when everyone is greedy, you have to be fearful, and when everyone is fearful, you need to be greedy, है ना? क्योंकि अगर मार्केट में सपोज पैनिक है, सबको हर एक कोई सेल कर रहा है, तो वो सेल चल रही है ना, मतलब अमेजॉन ग्रेट इंडियन फेस्टिवल चल रहा है, बिग बिलियन डेज चल रहे हैं फ्लिपकार्ट पे, you can buy all the good dresses and all the good iPhones and everything at discount. तो why not make use of this opportunity, है ना? और जब मार्केट बिल्कुल everyone is buying right now, there is so much greed in the market, जैसे अभी है, there is market is at an all time high. As an investor you need to be really careful, cautious. अगर कुछ इन्वेस्ट किया है, you should try and book some profits, take some money out of the market. You are getting a good price, take some profits out, book some profits right now. हाँ, पी रेशो इतना ज़्यादा क्यों है? तभी तो ज़्यादा है। नहीं, अर्निंग तो अभी के देख रहे हैं ना। हाँ हाँ एग्जैक्टली। तो पी में हम क्या ले रहे हैं? वी आर टेकिंग द करंट अर्निंग। अगर अभी 100 रुपये है तो 100 रुपये के हिसाब से देख रहे हैं कि 2000 रुपये पे शेयर ट्रेड कर रहा है, तो 20-20 टाइम्स हो गया अर्निंग का, है ना। तो वो अभी के टर्म्स में, मगर ज़रूरी थोड़ी कि हर साल ही 100 रुपये कमाएगी, कल को हो सकता है 200 कमाए, उसके बाद हो सकता है 500 कमाए। तो अभी 20 टाइम्स इसलिए दे रही है मार्केट वैल्यू क्योंकि दे आर एस्टिमेटिंग दैट द कंपनी विल कीप ऑन ग्रोइंग वेरी फास्ट। दैट इज द रीजन। एंड दिस अर्निंग्स जो है ये, दिस इज द करंट अर्निंग, नॉट द फ्यूचर अर्निंग कि 10 साल बाद क्या अर्निंग होगी। फॉर दैट यू विल टेक इन टू अकाउंट PEG रेशो। तो जैसे 20 टाइम्स अगर प्राइस टू अर्निंग है एंड द कंपनी इज ग्रोइंग ऑल्सो बाई 20% एवरी ईयर, सो PEG रेशो वुड बी हाउ मच? 20/21. And if there is one more company which is having a PE of 20 again, but it is growing only by 10%, so PEG ratio would be 2. Which is better, 1 or 2? 1, है ना, exactly. Now you in PEG you are taking into account the valuation also and also the growth. So जितना low होगा PEG ratio, that means the company is very cheaply available right now, and it is also having a good probability or a good prospect of growing in the future. Fine. So let's take a small break for 5 minutes, then we'll continue. Fine. So before we come to this, let's just conclude what we are discussing. So basically, why you need to invest in stocks and equities is the reason is that this is the only asset class that can give you more than 10-12% returns. And why do you need more than 10%? Because of inflation. Inflation is every year 5-7%, and if you only invest in FDs or in bonds, you are not able to beat inflation at all. Or 5-7% जो actual figure है, that is a combined of all the things. If you are looking only at food and fuel, food fuel inflation, that is more than around 10-12%, right? So which affects us or much more. So if inflation is around 10% and we are making a return of 5%, that we are actually getting poorer every single day. This is the reason why you need to understand the importance of investing in equities, either through mutual funds or directly in stocks. And there are many stocks which have given very high returns. Like, do you know this motorcycle called Royal Enfield? कितने की आती है? Almost 2 lakh की आती है ना? It comes around 2 lakh right now. In 1990, this motorcycle was around 50,000 rupees. ठीक है? अगर तब खरीदी होती तो उसकी वैल्यू कितनी होती? अभी मतलब इस टाइम पे कितनी वैल्यू होती? 0 होती ना. मतलब अभी कबाड़ी वाले को you would have given for 500 rupees, तो it would have turned to rust totally, right? So 50,000 rupees invested in that bike would have right now become to almost 0. If you had bought the shares of that company, कौन बनाता है ये Royal Enfield? Do you know which company makes? Eicher Motors, right? So Eicher Motors is the company which makes Royal Enfield. If you had bought shares of Eicher Motors, 50,000 rupees you had invested in 1990, अभी पता है कितना वैल्यू होता उसका? मतलब 50,000 would have become क्या 5 lakh, 50 lakh? No, it would have become more than 10 crore rupees. 10 crores. And this is not the only company. There are many other companies like this. जैसे TCS में invest किया होता है, Infosys में, Reliance में, yes, MRF में. There are so many companies, you know, Relax Footwear, Symphony. There are n number of companies which have given such high returns. So the choice is yours. You can either have that Khatara si bike after 20-30 years, or you can have this 10 crore corpus. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि बाइक या कार नहीं लेनी चाहिए. It means if you are spending 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees on bike or this thing, you should, you know, allocate similar amount to investment also, है ना? And how do you select? Because this is, see, this is only one side of the puzzle. Other, it can be totally contrary also. अगर 50,000 को zero भी बन सकता है वो, you can either end up with 10 crores or you can end up with zero as well. If you do not invest properly, if you don't do proper analysis. The same thing happened to my father also. He's a doctor, so he did not have any time to follow his investments. उन्होंने कुछ friends ने कहा, कुछ इन्होंने कहा. So in around 1980s, he had invested in, I think, 10 shares of different companies. थोड़ा थोड़ा invest किया different companies में, and he didn't even bother, उन्होंने check ही नहीं किया पूरा. And then when I became interested, I started following कि क्या हुआ क्या उन shares का, and none of the company was there. So all the investments became zero. But he had invested some around 5,000 rupees in a mutual fund. Franklin Templeton का एक mutual fund है, small cap fund था. He had invested in that 5,000 rupees. उसकी value was around 3 lakh rupees right now. And he was not even, he didn't even see कि हुआ क्या. तो we were amazed कि एकदम से 5,000 became 3 lakh rupees. So that is why it's very important to do your analysis properly while selecting stocks, and then to keep a track of your investments also. कंपनी सारी बंद हो चुकी है, सारी डीलिस्ट हो चुकी हैं. All the companies have completely vanished. तो but that one investment जो एक 5,000 रुपये इन्वेस्ट किया, that has recovered all the thing and given much more returns also. So even if out of 10, 8 of your investments fail and 2 give you such high returns, everything is, सब हो गया ना, काम हो गया पूरा. तो अब question is, if you have to select such a company like Eicher Motors, you do not know कौन सी company Eicher Motor बनने वाली है. Right now you don't have any idea कि 20 साल बाद ऐसी company कैसे बनेगी, कौन सी बनेगी. And for that you will have to do this kind of analysis, fundamental and technical. And both are saying opposite things. As we've seen, technical is saying that stay with the trend because trend is your friend. And fundamental is saying be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. So both are very contrary, na? Both are totally opposite. तो करना क्या चाहिए हमें? Which one is more important, or which one should you follow? हाँ? Okay. Okay. Whether you depend more on fundamental or on technical will actually be dependent on multiple factors, including your time horizon. This is the most important thing. कितना लंबा time period है हमारे mind में. If we are planning, say, for retirement or 20 or 30 years, then we will depend on which much more? Fundamental. But if we are, say, trading or investing only for 1 week or 1 month or 2 months or 5 months, then we will give much more importance to technicals. Because short term में क्या होता है कि अभी ट्रेंड ऊपर है तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा लाइक्लीहुड है कि ट्रेंड कुछ टाइम तक ऊपर रहेगा. बट कितने टाइम तक रहेगा nobody knows. लेकिन if it's a very short time horizon, then this trend becomes very important. In the long term, however, the trends keep on changing and reversing. तो अगर मार्केट में क्रैश आया, सपोज कोविड के टाइम पे आया था, मार्च 2020 में मार्केट क्रैश बाय हाउ मच, ऑलमोस्ट 40%. तो जो हाईएस्ट पॉइंट था वहाँ से 40% एक महीने के अंदर क्रैश हो गई थी. किसी ने 1 करोड़ रुपए लगाया होता, उसका 40 लाख का लॉस हो गया होता स्ट्रेट अवे. बट देन within 3-4 months it again recovered. तो अगर मार्केट में कोई वोलेटिलिटी आती है या नेगेटिव न्यूज़ आती है, वो कुछ टाइम के लिए रहती है, देन अगेन मार्केट स्टार्ट्स rebounding and starts performing well after some time. Similar thing happened around 2008 crisis, जो recession हुआ था, global financial crisis. That time also market crashed. Do you know by how much? By almost 60%. 60% ऑल टाइम हाई से क्रैश हुआ था. एंड दैट बेयर मार्केट जो था, जो नेगेटिव मार्केट चल रहा था, दैट लास्टेड फॉर अराउंड 1.5 year. उसके बाद फिर से मार्केट ऊपर आ गया. सो इफ़ यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग फॉर 5 years और मोर देन 5 years, देन दैट वॉज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर यू ना. When the market crashed, that gave you a very good opportunity to buy all the good things at very cheap prices. So it depends on your time horizon. If you have a time horizon of more than 3 to 5 years, then you will give much more importance to fundamentals. If you are only trading, say intraday, or say for 1 week or 1 month or 6 months, in that case you will be paying more attention to technicals. But can you combine both the things also? कर सकते हैं ना. ऐसा नहीं है कि दोनों बिल्कुल ही ऑपोजिट हैं तो कंबाइन की जा सकती हैं फिर भी. दे कैन स्टिल बी कंबाइन. हाउ? बिकॉज सपोज यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म, you will pay more attention to fundamental. You will select stocks which are cheaply available, very good quality companies cheaply available. But say you have selected 20 companies which are very cheaply available and fundamentally strong. Out of those 20 companies, you can select the top 5-10 companies which are showing positive trend as well, है ना, जिनका ट्रेंड रिवर्स होने लग गया है और वो अच्छा ट्रेंड शो कर रही हैं, वो cheaply भी available है and they are good quality companies, they are showing positive trend as well. You have combined both the things. Similarly, if you are trading for a short period of time, you can again combine both the things. कैसे? Because you will select the stocks which are showing a positive trend, and out of those stocks you will select which are also undervalued. तो दोनों combine हो गया. Both the things have been combined. But these big crashes, जब भी पैनिक आता है ना मार्केट में, that actually gives you a very good opportunity to invest for a long period of time. So actually you should pray to God कि अभी crash आ जाए बड़ा जल्दी, and we can put in all the funds that will pay off in the long run in more than 3 to 5 years. So always pray for negative news in the market. आने वाला है ना. अभी तो और भी बड़े बड़े इन्वेस्टर्स हैं. वॉरेन बफेट एज यू सीन इज अ इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्टर, है ना. बड़े बड़े इंस्टीट्यूशंस भी हैं, यू नो, बिग हेज फंड्स और म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज, इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंक्स हैं, वेंचर कैपिटल फंड्स हैं. तो दे ऑल्सो प्ले अ बिग रोल. जैसे ही किसी भी एक मार्केट में क्रैश आता है, मे बी यूएस में रिसेशन आया या कोई भी नेगेटिव न्यूज़ आई, तो उससे इम्पैक्ट आएगा बाकी ग्लोबल मार्केट्स पे. वी हैव सीन द रीज़न बिकॉज ऑल द वर्ल्ड इज़ नाउ इंटरकनेक्टेड. इतना हाई कैश फ्लो, कैपिटल फ्लो होता है. इंडिया में भी बहुत हाई अमाउंट ऑफ फॉरेन इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टमेंट आता है. तो अगर किसी दिन कोई भी नेगेटिव न्यूज़ आएगी, चाहे यूएस में चाहे यूरोप में, और मार्केट क्रैश होती है कोई भी बड़ी कंट्री में, दैट विल हैव अ बिग कैस्केडिंग इम्पैक्ट ऑन इंडियन मार्केट्स ऑल्सो. Okay, let's come back to the topic. This was a little bit of practical things, tips that you can use. So there is a lot of importance of foreign investment from the country's perspective, from the company's perspective as well, from the society's point of view also. So it leads to economic growth because it brings in capital, technology and expertise. Suppose Tesla is setting up a factory in India, that will lead to better technology in India, better expertise. People who are getting employed in Tesla in India will use this expertise when they move to other jobs, and this will help in benefiting the Indian overall automobile sector in India also. Job creation, it creates job, we all understand. FDI can transfer advanced technology, know-how, find increased competition, leading to, so it will benefit the consumers as well. If there is greater competition, that will lead to more choices which are available to consumers, and also to lower prices. Less, if there is a big company, big player, they can easily influence prices. मोनोपोली के बारे में पढ़ाई होगा. मोनोपोली या ओलिगोपोली में क्या होता है कि few companies are controlling the whole pricing, they have the entire pricing power. But if there are multiple companies involved, that will reduce the pricing power of any particular big company. मिल्क में, इवन इंश्योरेंस में, जहाँ पे एज FDI has increased in that particular sector, जैसे जैसे वो sector को open up किया गया है, वहाँ पे market forces have become more powerful, and that will lead to less pricing power in the hands of few companies. So this we've seen, there are a lot of factors which impact foreign investments, including political, economic policies, market size. So if there is a big market, India is a very big market for foreign, all the foreign players, big companies are looking to enter India. The reason is because we are firstly a very, the population is very huge, and also there is a big middle class section in the country which is growing with passing time. Everyone is becoming middle class and is having higher expectations, so they are having more aspirations. They would like to demand more and consume more kinds of things. So market size, growth prospects, along with political stability, economic policies will impact foreign investment. Similarly, labor cost productivity is another factor. In countries which are having cheap labor, which are having very abundant factors of production, including say capital or manpower and all, companies, foreign companies would like to enter such countries. The reason is that will reduce their cost of production. And as we've seen, we have discussed this theory in the first unit, if you remember, the product life cycle theory. The production or new innovation takes place in a developed country. It firstly spreads within that country, different parts of the different states of the country. Then it goes to other developed countries, say from US to European countries or Japan, and from there it goes to developing countries and underdeveloped countries. And what happens is that once it enters developing countries such as India or China, these foreign companies would like to start producing in these countries like India and China. They will start producing, set up their manufacturing here, produce at low cost, then export the same thing to US. So this labor cost and productivity will play a big role. Similarly, infrastructure would also be important. If a country is not having good infrastructure, then companies would be very reluctant to enter those places. Otherwise, they would be incurring a lot of transportation costs, and everything would be huge if there is insufficient infrastructure. Currency stability is obviously very important, especially when we are dealing in export and import. I told you earlier as well, if the currency depreciates, who will benefit, export or import? Exporters will benefit. That is the reason why in India, IT services and pharmaceuticals, along with gems and jewelry, along with handicrafts, along with these things, are getting such boost. They are growing, these industries are growing so much. The reason is that they are the biggest India is the biggest exporters of IT services, of pharmaceuticals, of gems and jewelry, handicrafts, and because of depreciation of Indian rupee, these sectors are getting benefited as a result of this. The legal regulatory environment is again very important. Certain policies of the government may prevent foreign investments from coming in, and certain policies like say cuts in tariffs and duties, or reduction in quotas, or reduction in licensing requirements, all these things, or opening up of FDI in particular sectors, will again benefit and increase foreign investments within the country. Then we have incentives and taxation policies. This we've discussed. Subsidies or benefits to foreign investments. Foreign investors can actually boost investments within the country. Right. So earlier on, investments, foreign investments mainly used to be concentrated between developed countries. But now it's spreading over from developed to developing countries. Countries like India and China are getting benefit from foreign investments, and some of the sectors which are actually growing as a result of this are manufacturing, services, technology. So we will study in Unit 2, there are certain regional trade groupings like SAARC, like ASEAN, like BRICS. They are all the emerging economies, and these are the economies which are actually getting benefited out of foreign investments. So economies like India, China, Brazil and all, BRICS economies, they are also getting a lot of inflows of foreign funds. Alright, so this is the last thing that we'll discuss, then we'll stop for the day. So the last thing is related to cross borders, mergers and acquisitions. Within different economies, lot of mergers, acquisitions keep on taking place. And why do companies go for these M&A? What do you think are the reasons? ग्रोथ की ओके ग्रोथ की अपॉर्चुनिटी है हाँ ओके नई एक्सपर्टीज़ के लिए नई मार्केट्स एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए अपना कॉस्ट रिड्यूस करने के लिए व्हाट एल्स डू यू थिंक आर द रीजंस ओके प्रॉफिट इनके वो तो मार्केट्स में ही आ गया कि मार्केट्स बढ़ेंगी तो प्रॉफिट्स बढ़ेंगे बहुत से बेनिफिट्स हैं टू गेन एक्सपर्टीज़ टू गेन टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफ़र करने के लिए काफ़ी अकाउंटिंग के थ्रू भी बेनिफिट्स होते हैं डू यू नो कंपनीज कैन बेनिफिट बिकॉज ऑफ दीज इवन इफ सर्टन कंपनीज आर मेकिंग लॉसेज some other company may still want to acquire it. What is the reason? Yeah. Taxation benefit, exactly. तो ये तो पता ही है सबको कि if a company is doing well, everyone would like to acquire it. क्योंकि उससे उनकी भी ग्रोथ बढ़ेगी, उनको नई मार्केट्स मिलेंगी, उनके ऑलरेडी वेल एस्टैब्लिश अगर कोई ब्रांड है, they can get the benefit of brand also. They can get access to their technology, their equipment and their resources and everything. But लॉस मेकिंग कंपनीज को भी एक्वायर किया जाता है और बहुत खुशी खुशी एक्वायर किया जाता है. कंपनीज, बिग कंपनीज एक्चुअली लव एक्वायरिंग लॉस मेकिंग कंपनीज. द रीजन इज दैट it gives them a lot of taxation benefits. Suppose a company has made a lot of losses in the previous year and it is being acquired by a different company. So benefit to the acquiring company would be that this loss would be carry forward to the next year. So you can carry forward these losses to the next year, and if the company is already making profits, they can set off these losses against the profits. So their tax liability will be reduced. And along with this taxation benefit, because they are getting the other benefits also, like technology or expertise or access to markets or resources or other things, economies of scale, reduction in cost and everything. So all these benefits along with the taxation benefit makes it the acquisition very attractive for the parent company, for the acquiring company. There are many examples of acquisitions across countries. Walmart, Flipkart, Daiichi, Ranbaxy, and Indian companies have also acquired foreign companies. टाटा ने बहुत सारी की हैं, जागवार लैंड रोवर किया है उन्होंने, टाटा स्टील ने कोरस स्टील को किया है. डू यू नो ऑफ एनी अदर सच थिंग? वोल्टास, हाँ यस, ओके, वोल्टास को एक्वायर करा है. व्हाट एल्स? ओके, सो देयर आर मल्टीपल एग्जांपल्स. और बाहर की कंपनीज भी इंडिया में एक्वायर करती रहती हैं, वो तो पता ही है. मारुति से वो तो जॉइंट वेंचर था, दैट वाज, सो जॉइंट वेंचर्स कैन आल्सो बी देयर एंड मर्जर्स एंड एक्विजिशंस कैन आल्सो बी देयर. डू यू नो द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज थ्री, दीज जॉइंट वेंचर्स एंड दिस मर्जर्स? व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस? ओके ओके, तो मारुति सुजुकी तो परमानेंट सही हो गया ना, तो हाँ ओके फाइन, हाँ हाँ ठीक है. तो मतलब रिलेशनशिप से स्टार्ट हुआ, गर्लफ्रेंड बॉयफ्रेंड से, एंड देन इट बिकेम हस्बैंड वाइफ, ऐसे हो जाता है. सो वंस यू स्टार्ट, दैट इज़ मेनली यूर लुकिंग एट शॉर्ट टर्म इनिशियली, कि हाँ एक इनिशियल न्यू एक्सेस टू मार्केट मिलेगा या न्यू एक्सेस टू टेक्नोलॉजी मिलेगा, कॉस्ट रिडक्शन होगा. यू आर लुकिंग एट सर्टन शॉर्ट टर्म बेनिफिट्स, बट ग्रेजुअली इफ इट वर्क्स आउट देन इट वर्क्स आउट फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म ऑल्सो. दिस इज मर्जर एक्विजिशन इज जनरली फॉर लॉन्ग टर्म. हाँ 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 होती रहती हैं. तो इट हैपन्स इन ऑल द इंडस्ट्रीज ऑल द टाइम. देयर आर मल्टीपल बेनिफिट्स एज यू कैन सी. जैसे इफ़ वॉलमार्ट वांटेड टू एंटर इंडिया, उनको बहुत ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट करना पड़ता, एंड फ्लिपकार्ट वॉज ऑलरेडी एन एस्टैब्लिश्ड ब्रांड इन इंडिया. Although it was not making profits, it was still loss making company, but still they acquired it. The reason is उनको एक तो वो टैक्सेशन बेनिफिट तो मिलता ही है, उसके साथ में एक ऑलरेडी इस्टेब्लिश्ड ब्रांड है जिसके लॉयल कस्टमर्स हैं. यू ऑलरेडी दे हैव ऑल द सप्लाई चेन इन प्लेस, सारे मर्चेंट्स उनके पास लिस्टेड हैं, यू नो सारे. अब वो वॉलमार्ट का बिजनेस मॉडल भी ऐसे ही है. यू मस्ट बी नोइंग कि उनमें भी काफ़ी सारे मर्चेंट्स होते हैं जो अपने फिजिकल मर्चेंडाइज उनके पास रखवाते हैं वॉलमार्ट स्टोर्स में. तो अब इसमें फ्लिपकार्ट में भी यही है कि दे आर हैविंग सप्लायर्स who are listed on Flipkart, they are listing their products, and Flipkart is marketing or selling their products to different consumers. Now the same kind of, they are having almost similar models, and Flipkart is already having existing base of suppliers and base of customers also. तो Walmart को already existing customers मिल गए, already existing suppliers भी मिल गए. They have got everything and an established brand name which is having loyal customer base and trust and following within the country. I am not aware about Birla क्या है exactly. Does anyone know? हाँ आदित्य बिरला. नहीं, आरोस वगैरह तो इंडियन ब्रांड ही है. हाँ पीटर इंग्लैंड भी इंडियन ही है, इंडियन ही है वो तो, पीटर इंग्लैंड इंडियन है. तो हाँ वो नहीं पता मेरे को, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट पीटर इंग्लैंड इज़ डेफिनेटली इंडियन. पीटर इंग्लैंड तो पक्का इंडियन है, एंड दे हैव वेरी गुड ऑफर्स ऑल द टाइम कि बाय वन शर्ट गेट 3 फ्री. ऐसे कुछ भी दे हैव वेरी अट्रैक्टिव ऑफर्स बिकॉज देयर स्टॉक इज नॉट गेटिंग सोल्ड आउट. So anyway, mergers and acquisitions have multiple benefits for the acquiring company as well, and also for the target company. Target company का क्या benefit है? जो acquire हो रही है उस company जो acquire कर रही है उसका तो हमने benefit देख लिया. They are getting access to resources, technology, to markets, to economies of scale, reduction in price and cost and everything. जो acquire हो रही है उसका क्या benefit है? यस एग्जैक्टली. तो अगर जैसे कोई कंपनी बहुत टाइम से लॉसेस कर रही है तो उनको वो सस्टेन, मे बी दे आर नॉट एबल टू गेट सस्टेन इट फर्दर, दे बिलीव दैट दे विल रन आउट ऑफ कैश. सो फॉर देम दिस इज काइंड ऑफ अ लाइफ लाइन फॉर देम. बेटर गुडविल, ओके Okay, great. So they will get capital and goodwill. तो वो है और it's beneficial for both the companies. जो acquiring company उसका तो है ही और जो acquirer है उसका तो benefit है, और जो acquire हो रही है target company है, that is also benefiting, because if it's making continuous losses, then they may run out of cash, and this is kind of a lifeline for them. And even if they are making profits, they may want to dilute their stake, or they may feel ki now we want to focus on some other things, or we may want to sell off one part of the company. तो सबका अपना अपना benefit, they see their own benefit, and overall it generally works in favor of both the companies. और गवर्नमेंट को क्या बेनिफिट है, गवर्नमेंट या इकोनॉमी को, फ्रॉम दिस एक्विजिशन? हाउ विल द गवर्नमेंट बेनिफिट? एग्जैक्टली. तो जो भी ये डील होता है, whenever this kind of big deal takes place between any company, the government is always there to make use and to take use of this opportunity to, जहाँ से भी टैक्स मिलता है they take the taxes. हाँ हाँ. Okay. Good. ठीक है. Any doubts, any questions? Otherwise we'll continue next time. Next time we'll be finishing unit 3. After that unit 2 and 4 are very easy. पूरा मतलब it's almost very theoretical in nature. These are, investment part is little interesting, and along with the first unit which has theories of trade. So theory में which especially the most important and interesting thing is the difference between absolute advantage and comparative advantage. So don't think even if a country is better at producing all the commodities, they will still benefit out of exporting and importing commodities. They should not, even if they are better at doing both the things or all the things, they can still benefit from trade by importing certain things, because that gives them a benefit of specialization and on focusing on one particular thing that can give them more benefits. Yes, done.